On your whiteboard, please tell me what country is going to collapse first and cause a worldwide collapse. What country will collapse first and cause a worldwide collapse? Micah? Germany. On your whiteboard, please tell me what's the name of the gentleman behind the theory of relativity. Isabella? Einstein. On your whiteboard, please tell me who believes in interpretation of dreams, free association, and the unconscious mind. Good. Emily. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the gentleman who is going to do Impressionism? Not Impressionism. Cubism and abstract. I know. I'm sorry. Who is it, Maya? Picasso. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is... please tell me what will cause the Dust Bowl here in the United States. What causes the Dust Bowl? Good. What causes it? Lauren. Over-farming the land. On your whiteboard, why were people out west over-farming the land? They were trying to send it where? Nah, not Germany. Good. Where are they trying to send it, Jessica? Yeah. You're not feeling well, my darling. I'm so sorry to hear that. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the official start day of the Great Depression in the United States? Good. Ollie.
October 24th.
You literally look like you're about to get up at any second and run out my door. Like you just literally physically can't be here anymore. On your whiteboard, 44% of what collapse here in the United States, and this will cause both an economic and a confidence disaster for the United States. It'll take decades before it recovers. Read. Thanks. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is... please tell me what country is the hardest hit country in the world because of the worldwide Great Depression? Jack. Japan. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is it called when the United States burned all the extra wheat, burned all the extra farm animals in an attempt to drive up the price to help stimulate the economy. What's it called, Lily? Land scarcity. On your board, did scarcity work or not work? Plan scarcity, did it work or not work? Good. Vanessa? Nope. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the American hero who will save our economy? His theory is still being used today. He is one of the major players of why. Who is it, Cheyenne?
John Maynard Keynes.
There you go. On your whiteboard, John Maynard Keynes believes a country should play with what in order to help stimulate the economy? What is it, Max? Interest rates. On your whiteboard, what plan was put into place to get America back to work? They're going to build things like the Hoover Dam, like libraries and infrastructure here in the United States. What is the name of the plan, Maya?
The New Deal.
The New Deal. What is the name of the president who signed in the New Deal? Aiden. FDR. On your whiteboard. Is this where we left off? Oh, okay. Alright, here we go. So, John Maynard Keynes is going to play with interest rates. Is that as far as we got?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last part of it is the New Deal. The New Deal is going to give jobs to Americans. They're going to build American infrastructure. Okay, all of our highways, all of our routes, like Route 66, Route 16, US 1, all of those routes were built during the Great Depression. The reason is that they believe that if we gave Americans jobs, A, we're building up infrastructure, B, we're giving them a paycheck, which means they're going to go to the store and buy things, which means money is moving in the economy. Okay? And then eventually. So, you need to have reasons the United States gets out of World War I. Reason the United States gets out of Great Depression is your next title. Put a nice big star next to it because you're going to need to hear it. Reasons U.S. gets out of Great Depression. Number 1, New Deal. Gives jobs, stimulates economy. 2, Keynesian economics. Interest rates. Keynesian. John Maynard Keynes. Keynesian economics. Playing with interest rates. The third one is the outbreak of World War II. Who can raise your hand and tell me why the outbreak of World War II would stop the Great Depression? Dean.
Sellers of armaments to Europe.
Okay, sell the armaments to Europe, sort of. Max?
Everybody's fighting a war.
Everyone's fighting the war, absolutely. War makes a lot of money. War makes a lot of money. We need people all of a sudden there's a lot of money for people to buy guns, make jeeps, okay, make parachutes. All these things need to get made. All of a sudden now there's plenty of job opportunities. It stimulates the economy. Those are your 3 big reasons. All right, here we go. So Russia. Russia is going to have the Bolshevik Revolution. You don't really need to write this down because you should know it. Bolshevik Revolution is going to happen in 1917. The Russian Civil War is going to happen to 1918 to 1920. The Red Campaign is going to be the Civil War. Does this all sound familiar? Hello? Okay. So, from 1918 to 1922, we're going to have a thing called war communism in Russia. War communism is going to be led by Lenin. We need to tie that to it because there's a couple things that are tied to Lenin, there's a couple things tied to Stalin. You need to differentiate the two. War communism is Lenin. Lenin forced rapid collectivization. Collectivization, as you did on your vocab quiz today, is the state is going to take land away from the people and force people to farm on it for the betterment of all. And throughout history, because we're in period 6 now, has collectivization worked? No, we've seen it since period 2. Okay, hasn't worked. It's not going to work now. It is massively unpopular in Russia. It will officially fail in 1921. Okay? It will fail because people are starving. Okay? It will fail because people are starving. Out of that reaction, Lenin creates the NEP. Okay, so I would do underneath, do a new heading, write the new economic policy. Okay, next to war communism on your heading, I would write failure. So it's very clear it fails. The NEP, or the new economic policy, also created by Lenin. Okay, now what is it? The new economic policy is created by Lenin. Next to the title of new economic policy, I would write somewhat successful. Because we're going to have another 2 economic theories that are going to happen in Russia. Somewhat successful. Okay? Now, what is it? He temporarily brings back capitalism to Russia. Okay? There's some private enterprise. So no longer capitalism. There's a little bit of capitalism is invited back. Okay? You're allowed to sell your surplus goods. Electrification. They start bringing electricity to the rural parts of Russia. This is the part of the successful part. They start bringing electricity into the rural parts of Russia, and they create technical schools. These 2 are the successful parts. These 2 are going to lay the foundation for the 5-year plan. Okay? So, war communism is Lenin's first economic policy, and it's a complete failure. It's a complete disaster. Why is it a complete failure and a complete disaster? Max. People are starving. Would you say it's extreme or not extreme? Extreme. Do extreme things usually work out well? No. Okay? So, it's very extreme, very harsh, fails. So, he's like, crap, let's try this again. So then he creates the NEP. The NEP is somewhat successful in the fact that we have electricity now out in the rural parts, and we also have the establishment of technical schools. So when Stalin comes around with what we'll eventually call the 5-year plan, they have the foundation of knowledge. Does that make sense? So then they can actually truly industrialize. When Lenin takes over power, is Russia industrialized? They're partially industrialized, but would you say it's a good partial or a terrible partial? Terrible. All right, so I don't think it's a surprise that Lenin's going to have a stroke with all this stress. Remember, he's a theoretical leader. He really does believe in communism. He's going to have a stroke in 1922, eventually dies in 1924. After he dies in 1924, there's a complete power struggle. Who is going to rise into power? Stalin. Okay, you need to have his name. This should be its own separate heading. So Stalin is going to be our man. He is going to lead until 1928 to 1953. Stalin has a nickname of the Man of Steel. Stalin is incredible. Incredibly horrible, but incredible nonetheless. All right, so after Lenin's first stroke, people are trying to wedge themselves into the number 2 position in order to seize power. At the beginning, Joseph Stalin is not a very popular choice, and he is going to rise in power by killing anyone who opposes and challenges his authority. The last person, the person most people expected to take power over Lenin was the last person he came in contact with. In front of, they were arguing back and forth about the right to control Russia and their dreams and stuff for Russia. And the guy said something Stalin didn't like. I don't know what he said. And Stalin just reached over, grabbed his throat, clenched it, and lifted him off the ground. Can we please stop for a second and think of a grown man reaching across, grabbing a throat, pinching it, lifting him up off the ground? Can we just stop and just, wow. That's pretty cool. Darth Vader was inspired by Joseph Stalin. No joke. Not Hitler. Everyone's like, oh my god, Hitler, they're the same. No, it's after Stalin. Stalin killed way more people than Hitler did. The reason why everyone thinks Hitler's the worst is because the U.S. teamed up with Russia. And that's why everyone thinks Hitler is the worst. Actually, Stalin killed almost 10 million more people than Hitler did. But we don't talk about it because we were buddies with him in the war. Okay, so Joseph Stalin, he is going to triumph over party rivals by poisoning, by stabbing, by murdering, and by choking out people in front of 30 other people and witnessing. I think that would be a pretty strong statement. That was his last real competitive person. And if you choke them and lift them up, I think everyone else is going to stay pretty silent, don't you think? I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't care who you are. That is awesome. Anyway, so he is going to officially lead the Soviet Union by 1928. Remember, Lenin dies in 24. There's about 4 years of struggling for power for him, trying to make sure he's a unanimous choice. Do you think he's really going to be the unanimous choice? No. So, one of his first things he does is called the 5-year plan. Please listen to me. Look at me very quickly. It is incredibly successful. It is incredibly successful. Russia, who I think we can all agree is kind of a joke in World War I. Remember, they're running off into war with swords? Yeah? Okay? They're going to go from a complete joke into one of the top 10 most powerful militaries in the world. Is that a pretty impressive jump? Yes, when you think of Russia in World War II, Cold War, all of that is done by Stalin himself. It is very, very successful. It is going to fully industrialize Russia, and it is going to fully militarize Russia in modern war. Okay, they're going to be building planes, they're going to be building tanks in a major way. It's a very big deal. and it's going to be run by a guy named Gosselin. Okay? Very successful. Massive collectivization of agriculture for the kulaks. The kulaks are going to be the ones running it. It's going to eventually be stopped in 1931 because it's not doing and producing what he needs. All right? To the boards, darlings, to the boards. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the first Soviet Union leader? Good. Isabel. Lenin. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is Lenin's first economic plan? What is his first economic plan? Alexandra. What the hell was that? I don't even know. Alexandra.
War communism.
War communism. On your whiteboard. What part of war communism is going to cause its collapse? What part of the war communistic part? Good. I got one. Yeah. Why, Max? Collectivization does not work, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't work. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is going to replace war communism? Dean. What? Can we not be so dramatic, please? There you go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, the new economic policy will introduce limited what into this communistic country? Limited what? Sophia?
Capitalism.
Limited capitalism. What are the two good things about the NEP that'll eventually lay the foundation? Maya, what are they?
Electrification and establishment of technical schools.
There you go. On your whiteboard, who replaces Lenin? Read. Stalin. On your whiteboard, what is the most successful economic policy in the history of Russia? It is so successful in Russia that the Chinese try doing it. And it's an epic failure, too. Like, it's so embarrassing. Lily.
5-year plan.
5-year plan. On your whiteboard, please tell me who's in charge of the massive collectivization in Russia? Who is it? Cheyenne.
Kulaks.
Kulaks. There you go. All right. Now, it is important to know. What's up? Oh, did you have a question? Oh, okay. So, in 1931, Stalin is going to officially stop collectivization, and it's not going to happen again in Russian history. However, he's going to turn around and say it's a success. Why is Stalin going to officially disband something that's fundamental to Soviet Union and say it was a success, even though it was an epic failure? Well, what is the big thing that he's trying to maintain? Max?
He's trying to say that his rule is the biggest success.
No, he's not trying to do that. What is he trying to maintain? Vanessa? No, he doesn't. No, this isn't really his thing. Guys, what is the whole Soviet Union based on? Communism. Guess what has failed Russia over and over again so far? Communism. When we talked about, is Russia, and when Stalin's in charge, is Russia really communistic or what type? It's really socialistic. Do people like being told they're part of a socialistic government? No. So, is Stalin's running a socialistic government, but he's maintaining this whole facade of a communistic because it's easier to digest. Can we agree? Okay, he claims collectivization is a huge success in order to continue to maintain this whole communist ideal, when in fact it's not. Yes?
So is the collectivization different from the first 5-year plan?
Yeah, it's different. Alright, so Stalin is in power. Now I think we can all agree that Stalin rising up into power as an unlikely choice, is that going to be popular or unpopular with most people? unpopular. He's not a nice guy. There's nothing about him that's nice. There's a couple pictures of him smiling, and it really chills you to your core because he's like awful. He's a terrible human being. Horrific. I mean, Hitler is really, really, really bad. Stalin is worse. Like, he's just horrible. He's going to kill more people than both Hitler and Mussolini combined. He's going to kill more people than 7 European populations combined. They estimate he killed between 24 and 26 million people. He literally burned down fields in whole regions of Russia and salted the earth in order to kill the people living there.
It's so petty.
It is so petty, but so effective. All right, so the Great Purge is going to be run by Stalin in order to eradicate anyone who challenged his authority. Okay? If you said, I don't like Stalin, what they would do, if someone heard you and reported you, in the middle of the night, they would go into your house. If you were just a normal person like me and you, if someone heard that Alexander heard me say that I don't like Stalin, I don't think he's doing a good job, Alexander would obviously report me. That night, the secret police would go in, drag my entire family out of the house in front of our front door and shoot us in the head and leave our bodies in the front door, outside the front door. Why would they pull our bodies and put them outside the front door? Adrian?
Terror. Just to create fear.
All right, but what else? Isabella?
To be made an example of.
To be made an example. So as you're walking your dog in the morning, Micah's whole family. There we go. Micah's, against the state. Oh, man, here's Cheyenne's whole family. They even got little Timmy. Okay? They would literally line up your whole family outside your door with bullet heads. Bullet heads. That makes no sense. A bullet in their head in order to make their point. Would that be an effective way to keep you quiet? Yeah, it would. Yes.
Could someone technically lie and say you said something?
Of course. Guess what would happen?
And
You'd still be shot in the head.
You gotta get them before they get you. So.
Yeah, so what we would do, obviously Alexandra is a snitch in this class. So we would just beat the crap out of her if she turned to any of us. And of course we're not going to do that. I was joking, yes.
Is that where like the movie The Purge was like inspired?
Yes. This is where it kind of comes from, but with a whole lot of crazy man in front. All right, so it's called the cleansing is its nickname. They are removing anyone who opposes Joseph Stalin or has anything to say against Joseph Stalin. We can all agree this is going to increase Stalin's power and authority over Russia, yes? If you even fear breathing a word of anti-Stalin, the repercussions. Now, if you are a public person, they would just shoot you in the middle of the day. They would shoot you, for instance, they killed a bunch of Congress members of the Duma. Yes, remember the Duma? The Duma is still functioning to a degree. I mean, it's a complete facade at this point. But anyone who opposed Stalin in the Duma, they just would have people get up and just shoot them in the head in front of everyone. It's a pretty effective way to rule, though. Would you agree?
Imagine teachers don't look bad.
What? Oh my God, what a terrible thing.
Like, you just go.
Now, they do have some labor camps, and they're called gulags, G-U-L-A-G. They do have some of those. Gulags, G-U-L-A-G, and they're pretty horrific things. So if Lauren said something bad about Stalin, her entire family, her grandparents, her uncle, would either be shot and killed or would be sent to the gulag. And it would be generations after generations, kind of like what's happening in North Korea today. If your grandfather was a threat to the North Korean state, you, as their grandchild, would be living in a prison camp. You're just not allowed out. Yes, Max. Okay, so thank you for bringing up Putin. So Putin is part of the KGB, which is part of the secret police that was used to maintain orders like this. Now, Putin was like 12 when Stalin died. So he wasn't working for Stalin, but he was working for like Gorbachev, and he was working for a couple other, not Gorbachev, but he was working for a couple of other people. So when we talk about enforcing these types of things, Putin, we know for a fact, has killed hundreds of people, like pre being president of Russia. We're pretty sure we can pinpoint 10 to 6 deaths on him, but we're not 100% sure. He also does not like people saying bad things about him. He has been associated with, but we can't officially prove, that he's killed 5 or 6 reporters and politicians in Russia. They keep mysteriously being poisoned and shot at in the middle of the night. Anyone who says anything bad about Putin ends up dead within a couple of months. Is that surprising? No, I didn't think so either. Yes.
I think
Vanessa.
it's kind of weird. Like they're so desensitized to like people just dying, but over here it's like, oh, if somebody dies, it's like, they can. But like in
Russia's a whole different beast, though. Russia's a whole lot going on, and it's a state-controlled TV system in Russia today. It's also state-controlled press and all that stuff. So anyone who goes out against Putin, it's a big thing. They have like a pop song about Putin. How every man should be like Putin. And it's super catchy. I don't know if you guys watched John Oliver tonight. Yeah, do you watch it?
I watched the one. I didn't like watching it.
Oh my god, you should. Well, he played the pop song, and it's damn catchy. I wish my man was like Putin. And it's just like this like techno song. Anyway, alright, fascism. So you're done with Russia. Stalin is now in charge of Russia. So fascism. Fascism is going to be started in Italy. Starts in Italy by a guy named Benito Mussolini. It will spread throughout Europe, Latin America, and to Asia. Fascism is not communism. It is not socialism. What is happening in Russia is not fascism. What is happening in Russia is not fascism. On your little notes, I would write, fascism is in Italy, Germany, Spain. Those are the big countries that you need to know that are fascist. Italy, Germany, and Spain. Now, who is going to be the German fascist leader? Anyone know the Spanish one? Franco. I like Franco. I think Franco is kind of cool. I mean, the way he just firebombs his own people. One has to appreciate it, you know. Oh, sorry. Is that too much death already today? Sorry. All right. So, fascism. So, what is it? You do need to know these. These are the 10. These are the 7 common elements of fascism. First of all, it's primacy of the state over the individual. What that means is that this. So, for instance, example: the United States is more important than you are. The United States is more important than you are if the United States was a fascist state. With that being said, if the United States is more important than you are, do you have individual rights? No, absolutely. You have no right to freedom of speech, freedom of the press, nothing like that, because the state's more important. Is it easy to justify killing people if it's for the safety of the country? Yes, and that's a big part of it. So primacy of the state over the individual. Devotion to a strong leader. One person. One person is the source of all of your information. One person is the only person who can be trusted. One person. It's ethnocentric, which means one ethnicity needs to be protected and provided for. And in Spain, Italy, and Germany, what is that? What is that ethnicity? Aryans in Germany, and everyone else just called them white people. Germany had to try to be a little, a little fancier. Okay, white people need to be protected. They are under attack. Okay, Germany blamed the attack of white people or Aryans by who? The Jews, and that's where they got blamed. Militaristic. That in order to be the most powerful country, in order to protect ourselves, we had to have the largest, most powerful military. They were willing to spend whatever money it takes to improving our military, so when people see our military, they fear us. Then you have to be anti-communist. Why would they be anti-communist? Why is it mandatory they're anti-communist, Ian? Why, Isabel?
Isn't communism like the other side of the political spectrum?
Absolutely. Fascism is the government has complete control. One leader has complete control over every single thing. Communism, everyone's equal. Does communism exist? No. Okay? Chauvinistic. What does chauvinistic mean? You can raise your hand and tell me what chauvinist means. Max.
Isn't it like male supremacy?
Yes! Men are to be men, violent, rage, and we're supposed to be dainty. Women are supposed to be women. Men are supposed to be men. And kill things. And xenophobic. What does xenophobic mean? Xenophobic. Lily? This is all over everything lately. What do you got, Max?
Fear of immigrants, or if they don't like immigrants.
Fear of immigrants or foreigners. This is fascism. Okay? White supremacy. Fear of foreigners. Masculinity needs to be attacked and protected. And that the state is more important than the individual. Fascism. Fascism. Alright, here we go. So fascism in Italy. So I would write Italian fascism. I would do a whole separate heading and I'd do Italian fascism. Okay, post-World War I. The people of Italy are pissed, no land gains. Who can raise their hand and tell me why Italian people are pissed that they didn't get any land gains? What happened in World War I, Maya? They flipped, yeah, absolutely. So they were on the losing team, then they were on the winning team. If you're on the winning team, to the victors go the spoils, correct? Well, is England, France, and the U.S. going to give them much respect in land gains? They do give them a little bit of land, but the Italian people are saying it's not worth it. We were on the winning team, and France and England and the United States are like, oh, hell no. You can get this, and then you're done. So, the Italian people are pissed they didn't get more land. They're also pissed because of the Great Depression is happening in Italy, and things are really hard. They're also pissed because Italy is industrializing. We all know that industrialization on a country is really hard, correct? The United States, it was hard on France, England, of course, Germany, Russia has done it now like 3 times, and they still haven't figured it out. Okay, so really, really hard. So a guy named Mussolini, who's a newspaper editor, is going to start writing articles saying that the government is messing up. The king is really failing everyone. And that if he was in charge, he would do things differently. And that if he was in charge, he's the only one who can solve the problems. He, as in Mussolini, is the only one who can solve Italy's problems. He has it all up So, Italy elects him to power. They give him one position, and then he goes to King Emmanuel III. And King Emmanuel III, in order to kind of keep the peace, says, wow, why don't you be prime minister? And he's like, hell yes. So, a man who held an office for 2 months, political office, is now going to be prime minister, which is the highest elected official in Italy. Okay? His political team is going to be called the Black Shirts. You do need to know that. His political team is going to be called the Black Shirts. And in 1926, he's going to raise a coup. And he is going to kick out the king and become the leader of Italy. Now, the funny thing about Mussolini is that he has no idea what he's doing once he becomes king or becomes leader of Italy. No idea what he's doing. He's terrible. However, he does a couple things right. He's really good at getting power. He's really good at organizing people. But he has no idea what the hell he's doing and has no idea what to do with the military. Alright, so Mussolini rises into power. Okay? He becomes powerful because of his use of the media. He does all these really cool things, all that stuff. Alright, so Hitler, here we go. Fascism in Germany. Okay, stop for 2 seconds. During World War I, Adolf Hitler is a private in the German military. He's essentially an ambulance driver, I think. Something minimal. I think he was in a trench for like 15 minutes. He got scared and left. I'm not really sure. He didn't have a big role, is what I'm saying. Okay, so he's not important in World War I. After World War II, he's walking around parts of Germany, and he hears a bunch of people inside having a good time. So he walks in, because he has no friends, because he's Hitler. He just got rejected from art school, looking for a calling. He has no idea what he wants to be anymore. And he hears a ruckus going on in a bar, and he walks into a bar. And it's the National Socialist German Workers' Party are having some beers, because they're in Germany. I'd assume it's beer. So he goes in there, and he's like, wow, this looks fun. Oh, my God, this is what I'm going to do. So he starts off as a no one. Within 2 years, he's running the damn thing. Okay? So as he's running this little club, he sees this guy named Mussolini in Italy rising into power, who's just a newspaper editor, who has no political experience, no influence at all, who just happens to have a really cool opportunity. And so Hitler's like, damn, Mussolini, I like you. And Mussolini's like, damn, Hitler, I like you too. And Hitler's like, please teach me, please teach me, please teach me. And Mussolini's like, fine, I'll help you. But no, I'm better than you. And Hitler's like, oh my God, yes. So Mussolini and Hitler are pen pals, and they help. And Hitler's like, oh my God, Mussolini, you're so smart, you're so great, you're so wonderful. And then Mussolini's like, and this is what you should do next. And Hitler does exactly what Mussolini says. They are besties before World War II, by the way. Besties. And Hitler rises to power using the tools that Mussolini talks about and teaches him to use. Oh my God, this is super successful. You should do this. And Hitler turns around and does exactly what Mussolini does. The funny thing is, pre-World War II, Hitler is obsessed with Mussolini. By the end of World War II, Hitler allows Mussolini to be caught dressed like a woman and to be dangled and have important pieces of him cut off from a light pole. And he stays there for 3 weeks because he hates Mussolini so much. Oh, did that go a little extreme? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It got a little crazy there, but that's exactly what happens. Is he gets caught and dragged trying to leave.
Isn't he literally dragged?
Yeah.
Like through the streets of
Yeah. And then they find a light post. They open up his dress. They want everyone to know he was wearing a dress. So they left the dress on. They just opened it up and then cut some pieces off. And then the birds ate him.
Why was he wearing a dress?
He was trying to smuggle himself out to get out of the borders. He was hoping to run back to Hitler. Because Hitler ended up being like the better leader of the two. Because Mussolini could just get into power, but he couldn't maintain it. Hitler had issues getting into power, but I think we can all agree he did a pretty damn great job of staying in power, yes? He's a terrible human being, but what he did in Germany was pretty damn impressive, yes? Alright, so, Hitler. Here we go. In 1921, becomes the chairman of the Nationalist Socialist German Workers' Party. At this point, this is where he starts hearing about a guy named Mussolini who had zero experience, just like Hitler, who was really no one important, just like Hitler, and he's like, damn, man, I can do that too. So he attempts to overthrow the government in 1923. Okay? He does it on his terms, not on Mussolini's terms. Mussolini's like, don't do it. Hitler's like, don't tell me my business. And so he does it. Well, the man gets arrested because if you don't know this, if you try overthrowing a government, you get arrested. But he didn't actually do anything. He was just planning, so he only was in jail for a couple of years. In this time, he writes this really controversial book called Mein Kampf. Okay? Now, Mein Kampf, last year, became legal in Germany again. It was banned for like 50 years in Germany. You weren't allowed to buy a copy of it. It just became legal again last year. And it sold out again in Germany. It was completely sold out in Germany for like 4 months. So I don't know if we should be worried. Okay, so he writes an autobiography called Mein Kampf in jail. I downloaded the audiobook for it because I refused to like read it, but like driving listening to it. Oh my God. I think we got through like chapter 3. It was awful. Interesting. It's straight up propaganda. He just talks about how Germans are better than everyone and how everyone else is scum. Uses some really choice words and everything else. Interesting reading if you're interested in propaganda. I mean, at some point I think I will read it. Just, to read it, Like I've read Common Sense. I've read a bunch of like transformative books and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to read it at some point. But anyway, this is a big deal. It comes back later and is a huge tool for him. He capitalizes on public discontent. I think we can all agree everyone in Germany hates the war guilt clause, yes? Everyone in Germany hates the reparation, which has completely destroyed their economy. Everyone hates that Hitler blames everything on the Jews. It was the Jews is the reason why we lost World War I. It's the Jews' reason for this. It's the Jews' reason for this. And the inability to major parties. Hitler rises into power because the other two major political parties were in complete hot mess. That because the other two political parties couldn't come up with a strong candidate, this guy comes up and just insults everyone, tears everyone down, and tells the people what they want to hear. Fascism. What?
I don't understand like how Jew things started though. Like why specifically the Jewish people? Like why is that?
Because Jews have been a perfect scapegoat since the dawn of time because they're the first one to have a monotheistic religion. They keep them to themselves. They are also going to be the most wealthiest people in the country. Here in the United States, it's the same way because Christians aren't supposed to loan money. Did you know that? We're not supposed to do money laundering. We're not supposed to give loans. We're not supposed to take loans. So people went to Jews in order to get loans and stuff like that. So Jews rose in money through historical times, and they've just always done incredibly well because Jews are very connected to other Jews. So the money stays within the Jewish families, which means they rise in power as a whole instead of you just trying to do it yourself, so you can balance it off. So people don't like that. All right, but yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. Like this morning on the news, anti-Semitism is on the rise here in the United States. The Jewish Community Center, like a block away from here, 2 blocks away, yes, someone called in yesterday with a bomb threat.
Like the synagogue?
No, not the synagogue, the Jewish Community Center. It's right off of Henderson. No, it's not. It's right off of Howard. It's right off of Howard. They had a huge bomb threat. That was on the news this morning. 10 other Jewish community centers around the country yesterday got threats as well.
Maybe it's all the same person.
They were all over the country.
Well, yeah. All you have to do is call.
No, they said they were different people. They were different people. I don't know why President's Day was the day to do it, but, you know, maybe you just had time off. I don't know. But, I mean, that is something to say that it is on the rise here in the United States. All right, so consolidation of parties. So the Nazis become the largest political party in Germany. They have a very weak president called Paul von Hindenburg. He is going to be part of the last president, the first president of the Weimar Republic. As Hitler's popularity is surging, Paul von Hindenburg is like, damn it, let's just give him a political position. That way we can kind of keep him under control. So they give him this title of Chancellor, which is not the highest position of power. It's the second highest in order to kind of quell him. Did that quell him?
No.
Nah. So eventually, he, in his position of Chancellor, is going to suppress opposition. And he's going to make the Nazis the sole legal party, destroys trade unions, and purges all civil service of perceived enemies. So what that means is he just goes around killing people until he has a clear way to take power for himself. Pretty effective. A man who has of no political significance 10 years earlier is now the most powerful man in Germany. I mean, that's impressive. A newspaper editor in Italy becomes the most powerful man in the world less than 7 years later. The most powerful man in Italy 7 years later just kicked out a king. You don't think that's pretty powerful? Hello? No? You're right. Thank you, Lily. I saw you. Okay? This is what fascism is. It makes people angry. They're focusing in on the things that make people upset. The war guilt clause, the reparations. By focusing on the things that people are upset about, they can create a paranoid state. Goodbye. Do we like fascism?